public speaking class graduates. About 38 years ago, I became a lawyer. I was 24 years old. I became an attorney in Nigeria. And we were not taught public speaking at all at the law school. We were taught the nitty-gritty of law, principles of law. That was all we were taught. But we had the habit of going with our seniors, our principals, we call them principals. We had the habit of going with them to court and watch them the way they speak. That's how we learned how to be public speakers. I wish this class was around at that time. It would have made me a better lawyer. And I remember the first day I appeared in court alone without my principal. He said, hey, you are going to handle this case. You've done the research. Because we do most of the work that they do, that they go to present in the open court. We do the research, we do all the mock trials and all of that. We get them prepared to go and do that. So he now said, hey, you are going to have to handle this case yourself. You are going alone. There's no other counsel who's going with you. And that was my first day of real public speaking. I got into the court, and the judge was very gracious to me. I stumbled over all the things I prepared. I made a fool of myself, so much so that I wanted to stop practicing as a lawyer from that date. But you know what the man did to me? He told me, he said, hey, you are doing good. I'm like, doing good? He said, yeah, you are doing good. Go ahead, go ahead. He encouraged me so much so that at the end of the day, I picked up the steam, I picked up the courage, and my client was very happy with me after that court case. I had somebody who was gracious to me. In the next court, my friend, who also was called to bar, who became a lawyer at the same time, he had a judge who was not so gracious to him. The judge embarrassed him, intimidated him. The guy came out of the court crying. I say this to establish one thing, that you need a mentor, you need a coach in your life. No matter how good you are as a public speaker, if you don't have that person who nudges you on, that person who holds you accountable, that person who tells you that, yes, you can do it, you are not likely going to succeed in this career, because public speaking is a career. I want to thank Papa and Professor Majama. I listened to his Facebook page presentation of his book. And I said, if you have been exposed to a man like this, there's little or nothing I can add to what he has told you. But I believe that a few of the things I'll share with us today will be very helpful. Now, what's leadership? Leadership has been defined in so many ways. If you Google leadership, definition of leadership, you are probably going to get about over 1,000 definitions of leadership. But the one that really stuck out to me is the definition by John Maxwell, who defines leadership as influence. I have accepted that definition for a very long time, but in my own research, in my own leadership journey, I discovered that leaving it as influence alone does not do much justice to the definition of leadership. So I now added this, and I know that I'm not the author of this, what I'm going to say right now, because the thoughts are everywhere. Thoughts are flying everywhere. Leadership is not just influence. It is influencing people through effective communication to achieve a compelling vision, goal, or objective together. Any leader that does not have a vision cannot succeed. Of course, leadership is about taking people to a vision. But you have to be able to communicate the vision effectively to the people that they want to go on this trip with you. So every public speaker, whether you like it or not, whether you have been told that or not, is a leader. Every public speaker is a leader. And why do I say that? I say that because you want to take people somewhere. Even if it's a story you are telling, you want to tell the story in a way that people are eager to see the end of the story. And the way you set the story together, the way you start the story, will make them to keep listening to you, because they know that at the end of the story, there's something that they're going to get that they have not yet received. So your only tool you have as a public speaker is your word. Your words are your tools. And words have impact in the lives of the hearer. The good book says, life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can speak life to people. You can also kill people. Cyberbullying is a way of killing people. People who use the internet to bully people, they're actually trying to kill them. And we have so many instances of people who have committed suicide as a result of words that were spoken to them. So, because words are your tools, you must be able to speak to express and not to impress. Don't speak to impress, but speak to express. Because you can impress some people with your oratory, and it does not get them anywhere they want to get to. So before you speak, know that your spirit, or who you are, is going to be the force behind your words. That's why I will encourage you to be very authentic. Be very authentic. Don't try to be who you are not. Because I see so many people, they try to speak like other people. And they miss the process or the opportunity of discovering who they are. Because as a public speaker, as you speak, you are releasing energies. You are releasing energies to people. And if your energy is not a good energy, it's not going to profit those people that are listening to you. So you must know who you are. Who we are is not our name. Our names are just identity identifiers, just to identify us. But who you are is actually inside of you. And who we are is usually expressed in our behaviors. So whether you like it or not, who you are is going to creep into your conversation. It's going to creep into your presentation. So what I always advise myself is that my character should come out before my charisma. My character should come out before my charisma. And there are so many charismatic speakers. They speak very fluently, they speak very convincingly, but their character is faulty. So you must work on your character, and your character is who you are. Then, who are you speaking to? You must know your audience. You must know your audience. I was disturbing Usman and Papa. I said, who are the people I'm going to speak to? Usman did not reply me. I texted Papa. I said, Papa, tell me the type of people I'm going to be speaking to, because it's very important for you to know the people you are going to speak to. The reason is that people come with different perspectives. People come with different analogies. People come with different illustrations. People are culturally different. So there may be some things that I will say that might be offensive to some people without me wanting to be offensive. So you must know your audience, know their motivation, know their vision, know their purpose, because every of your audience member is trying and is very curious to know where you are going to take them. Are you speaking to a monocultural group? Are you speaking to a multicultural group? Are you speaking to a mono-generational group? Are you speaking to a multi-generational audience? You must know all these things, because languages and words are different in different generations and in different groups of people. I am here with my second son and his fiancée tonight. Oh, hi, Vince Omegba, can you rise up, please? And Kayla. Yes, you can have a seat. I'm also here with my little grown girl. She's the last in the family. Esther Omegba, she's here. Can you rise too? Yes. The reason I introduced them is not to show off, but I have every right to show off with these great kids. But the reason is that when you speak what you don't behave at home, they are the ones that will hold us accountable. Because words are cheap, but walking your words, walking what you are saying is the most important part of who we are. I'm also a preacher, and my children, when they're in the church, I better say the truth. If I say what I don't do at home, they are the first to tell me right at the parking lot, Dad, that's not true. And they will say it in a very loving way. So that was a digression. I'm sorry about that. You see, having been a public speaker for over 40 years, as an attorney, then as a preacher, my major concern, and I like to say my major fear, is whether I am connecting to the people I'm speaking to. It's my greatest fear. In fact, I have that fear every Sunday morning before I go and preach. Because I don't know who is going to step into the church that Sunday morning. I don't know what the expectations of the person is, or what the expectations of the people are. I don't know what pain they are bringing to the church. I don't know what need they have. I don't know what they are struggling with. If I speak above them, their understanding, they are going to leave that place frustrated. And the church is a place that you're supposed to come to get help. So I want to encourage you that before you speak, please know your audience, know their sensibilities. Because preparation alone is not enough. Because a lot of people spend so much time in preparation without knowing their audience. A segment of your audience may not understand your jokes. They may not understand your illustrations. They may not understand your analogies. But they are hungry to hear something. So we must make sure that we understand their sensibilities and their emotions and their fears. And now, you are not guaranteed to have a friendly audience all the time. In fact, you are most likely going to have audiences that are not friendly than audiences that are friendly, especially in a multicultural environment like this. So what do you do? What I recommend for you to do is that before you go and speak to an audience, you must have something that will bless them. You must have something. Let me not use the word bless, because when I use the word bless, you kind of like think that it's kind of like spiritual. Blessing is something that makes a positive impact in the lives of somebody. Make sure you have that. If they are hostile, keep on giving them what will benefit them. Keep on emphasizing on that. And that's the secret behind a lot of politicians, or some of the politicians who won elections in places where they are in minority. President Obama practiced it very well. When he was preparing for his election, when he was going about campaigning, he was emphasizing on healthcare. Healthcare. What was going to benefit the people? So whether you're white, black, brown, or whatever color, you have a health problem. And if you are hearing somebody telling you that he's going to provide something for you that's going to benefit you, you look beyond his color. It's not his color that matters. It's what he's going to deliver. So as a public speaker, what you are going to deliver to your audience is very, very important. My time is up. Let me round up by telling you a short story about 3 kings. One of the kings' name is Agrippa. He was a young king in the Middle East, and he was such a very, very great speaker. He was a powerful orator. There were some tribes around them that had food supply problems, and his kingdom was supplying food to the vassal states and all the surrounding states. So they got him mad, and he cut off the food supply. So they came to his kingdom, they came to his palace to plead with him. And he used that opportunity to give a very powerful speech that the people said, no, this is not the voice of man, this is the voice of God. And the man became very arrogant. And the story has it that because he took the glory to himself, he was struck dead by a spirit. He died. The moral in this story is that always acknowledge people who have helped you to be who you are. Acknowledge them. Acknowledge Papa, acknowledge Professor Majama, acknowledge your colleagues. Because in the process of your having those mock debates, and people must have said something that you didn't know before, that you got from your colleagues. So give credit to whom credit is due. Then the second king, his name is Shlomo, or Suleiman. King Suleiman, very wise. He was a poet. He was a public speaker. He was a very wealthy king. And his wisdom was so much that kings were coming from all over the world to come and listen to him. But this king became carried away with his wisdom. At the end of his life, he became foolish because he did not put into practice all the things he wrote, all the poems he wrote, all the proverbs he wrote, all the wise sayings he wrote. He did not put them into practice. He ended very poorly. So now, the moral of that story is that everything you say, you must practice it. If you don't practice it, you'll be so miserable, not because of the public odium that you will receive. You'll be so miserable because you missed an opportunity to live what you have learned in this class. Then the third king is actually not a political king. He's a spiritual king. It's actually called the king of all kings. When all kings gather, they call him king. The reason is this. Every time this king spoke, he always made reference to his father. He said, what I see my father do, that I also do. What I hear my father say, that I also say. At a point, they sent people to arrest him, to kill him. The soldiers they sent to go and arrest him, as they were in the crowd, listening to this king, his words disarmed them. They went back to the people who sent them and said, look, we couldn't arrest this man because he did not speak like other people speak. And the moral of that story is that this third king practiced what his coaches, his mentors, Papa, everybody, Majama, all the people that are around you that have added value to your lives. Live the way they have lived and the way they have actually trained you to live. Thank you very much.